This is the very first Chinese Wikipedian gathering in Beijing in July 15th, 25th. By that time, Wikipedia was still quite small and unknown. And when people heard that a professor from Hong Kong is going to come to our gathering, they were all very, very excited. And I was not there. And Andrew is also one of, I think, meanwhile, 7 or 8 people who had attended all our annual conference, Wikimedia. And I am not one of them. So thank you very much, Andrew. And I must say, actually, 老前辈. Okay, I will not go about my biography. I was born in Shanghai, and I actually grew up in Harbin in northern China. And I moved to Germany in 1988 for study. I studied there electrotechnique, and I was, as Andrew said, involved in Wikipedia in 2003. At first on the German Wikipedia, and moved quite fast to the Chinese Wikipedia, because the Chinese Wikipedia was at that time smaller and younger and more vital, and there are more room to build, and the German Wikipedia was already a little grown and has its own traditions and boundaries. In 2008, I took part in the election for the board, and surprisingly won the election. And since 2010, I am chair of the board. So I want to at first introduce a small history of the Chinese Wikipedia. And then I will give a current state of the Wikipedia, of the Chinese Wikipedia today. And then I will, actually, every speech I make, I want to ask my audience for something. So you are all researchers. It is for me the first time that I speak before so many professors. So I want to ask the researchers to help us to research on Wikipedia. The first Wikipedia opened its door in January 15th, 2001. And a few months later, people had said, oh, it should not be only an English version, and it should be an international project. So they opened 12 other languages. Those are actually the 12 most spoken languages of the world. And naturally, among them is Chinese. And, but at that time, the software of the Wikimedia, the MediaWiki software didn't support Unicode. So people must input with a weight-guide system, which is very cumbersome. And it is actually not very used in the world. In August 24th, the user Mountain, you saw him actually earlier. That's him. He is a student of computer science in Beijing University. He wrote an add-on for the software so that the software can use Unicode. And actually, his code moved later into the core of the software and supports also the other languages, like Arabic or Thai, and so on and so on. So for us, the date of the birth of Chinese Wikipedia is not May 2001, but August 24th. And a few months later, Mountain is also the first person who wrote the first Chinese Wikipedia article. He translated the English Wikipedia scientific computer science into Chinese, and that was the first Chinese article. on Chinese Wikipedia, and it was published on November 17th. So the Chinese language is very interesting, and this is a very unique problem for us in the first year of the Chinese Wikipedia. We need a Chinese name. All other languages, or almost all other languages, they can simply adapt to the English name Wikipedia. But the Chinese want to have a Chinese name. Even the Japanese don't have that problem because they have their katakana. And so there were a lot of suggestions about how to translate Wikipedia. There are suggestions like translate by sound. There are suggestions like translate by meaning. You know, wiki is an Hawaiian word and means quick. It translate by how the thing works. So the living Wikipedia, the living encyclopedia, because it is ever-changing. And there are also some discussion about if it should be a big Wikipedia, or it should just an encyclopedia, or it should be a big encyclopedia. And at the end, there was a vote, almost 1 year after the first article put online. And at that time, the active community is actually quite small. There are maybe 20 active Wikipedians on Chinese Wikipedia, and about 15% took part in that vote. And so Wikipedia, Wikipedia obviously won with 9 votes, and Wikipedia got 5 votes, and there were also some other suggestions. For example, 维基大百科全书 got 1 vote. The other thing that is very unique for Chinese Wikipedia is Chinese Wikipedia has a subtitle. This is also something that is very unique for Chinese Wikipedia. Other Wikipedias don't have a subtitle, and it is 海纳百川有容乃大. This is a quote from Lin Zexu. He wrote that on a school in Guangdong. He was, by that time, the governor of Guangdong. And the quote actually comes, its root is from Guanzi and Shangshu. And it is suggested also by the user mounting. So that was the first year's big problem. The next year's big problem was how many languages are there? How many Chinese languages? So you all know that we have the traditional writing system and we have the simplified writing system. And there was actually, in the year from 2003 to 2004, a very big battle on Wikipedia. And there were also suggestions that we should split Wikipedia into 2 language systems. But the majority don't want to split, but the tension remains. And this is an example where actually a technical solution solved the problem. Personally, I am an engineer. I studied engineer science, but I don't really believe that technical solutions can really solve social problems. And this is one of the examples that say that technical solutions really can solve social problems. So there was a user who studied in MIT, I think. He is also a student of the computer science. He wrote an add-on that automatically translates between the traditional writing and the simplified writing thing. So every user who is logged on, he can say, I want to see my text in traditional Hong Kong writing system or a traditional Taiwan writing system or the simplified Singapore writing system or the simplified mainland Chinese writing system. And it is so clever that, for example, it can translate 电脑 by the Taiwan use of the word computer to 计算机 for the mainland use of the computer. Or for example, Sydney, the capital of Australia, and Xueli, the Hong Kongese translation of that city. It was for me also somehow a shock that when people began to put in other Chinese languages as an individual language that is separated from Mandarin. It was, I was educated in China. I lived 20 years in China. And for me, it was very natural that there is only one Chinese language. And it is the system that we use to create new language is actually a standard from the International Standard Organization. And if that International Standard Organization defines a language to be an individual language, then we define also that language to be an individual language. The merit of that is naturally that we don't need to bother if, let's say, Mingnan or Yueyu is really an individual language or it is not an individual language and only a dialect. The drawback is naturally there are also many problems like the most interesting is there are a few dialects in German, for example, they are declared as an individual language, although they are not perceived by the German themselves as an individual language. So the first Chinese language version that is other than Mandarin that opened was Minnan. Minnan is spoken in Taiwan and is actually the traditional Taiwanese language. Later in 2006, there was a very big battle about if Yueyu should be splitted as an individual language. And in 2006, we also have seen Yueyu, Wuyu, and classical Chinese to be created. In 2007, we have Hakka and Mingdongyu, and the newest from this list is Ganyu. It is created in 2008. But in total, these languages didn't develop really well. The best developed language version is naturally Yueyu because of support of a lot of Hong Kongese Wikipedians. And it has currently about 18,000 articles. So as I said, we have meetups. It is interesting because people, in the beginning of the internet, people discussed a lot about if internet is getting people shut up between the human connections so that they only connect with via internet, via machine, and don't go out and meet other people. And actually what we see is that people really want to meet other people. And so if they get known each other on the internet, they want to meet them nevertheless. And we have in 2004 our first Chinese Wikipedia meetup. And we have in the following year, 2005, we have in Hong Kong our first Chinese Wikipedia Congress. In 2009, we have in Macau that Congress again, and traditionally we meet also in the frame of the Chinese Blogger Sphere Congress meetup. There are also a session for Wikipedia. And 2003, the International Wikimedia Foundation, the Wikimedia Media Conference, Wikimedia, took part in Taipei. And next year, we will hold that conference again in a Chinese city in Hong Kong. Hong Kong won against London, which is quite remarkable, I think. So currently we have meetups in both in Taiwan, in Taipei, Tainan, and Taichung, as well as in Hong Kong, Shanghai, Macau, Peking, and Guangdong. So when Andrew asked me to talk about the Chinese Wikipedia, I asked him, well, what do you want me to talk about? And he said, the challenges you meet, for example, the blocking. And I said, oh, should I really talk about that? It is so sensitive, and so I just said, okay, I will write it in connectivity problems. And I was startled yesterday that so many people talk about blocking and Great Firewall so openly. And last night I thought about it, should I change that title? And I decided not change it. I just want to show you that actually I'm so innocent about Chinese internet and Chinese internet research. And I learned a lot from you in the past 2 days. We were blocked a few times. The first block was in 2004 in June. You know that June is a remarkable month. And that block actually was not total. Some ICPs blocked us and some didn't. And it also lasted not very long. It lasted to 20 days about also. The longest block, and it was a total block that all projects from Wikimedia Foundation was blocked. It lasted from August 7th, 2006 to July 31st, 2008, almost 2 years. And so in July 2008, after I was elected on the, to the board, I went to meet Jimmy Wills, with Jimmy Wills, who is the founder and of Wikipedia, to Beijing. And we visited Vice Minister from 国务院新闻办公室 and tried to persuade him that we are not an organization, and how to say 海外敌对组织. And so what we did is actually we opened our book, and we have the suspect that they think that we are an organization that may be financed by US government or something like that. And so we always open our book, but many people don't know that. So we open our book and say, look, these are our donors, and these are the donors that contributed to us, and there's no organization that is whatever suspective. And I think that really helped. And in November, that Vice Minister visited us in San Francisco in our headquarters. At that time, we were still a very small organization. We had about 30 employees. And our office is a fabric hall, an unused fabric hall. And he visited Google in the morning, and then he went to us in the afternoon. I think it was a shock for him, because Google was big. He said Google has 14 buildings, and you have only a small building. Actually, it is not a real building, and we have no air conditioning. So all of his people sit with us in a small conference room, and all are sweating. And so I think that really makes him think that we are not a threat. And since then, we are no more blocked again in China. But nevertheless, from time to time, we still experience keyword blocks and blocks of some small projects. And sometimes it is also very crazy because it is so contradictory. For example, if you are in China and you search in Wikipedia, Yonghegong, it is a temple in Beijing, a very well-known temple in Beijing, you would find nothing. And why you would not find something like Yonghegong? It is because in that article, it is said that the 6th Dalai Lama went to there. And the contradiction of that is that the 6th Dalai Lama went to there because he paid tribute to Qianlong Huangdi, Emperor Qianlong. And this is a story that the Chinese government used to say that this is a proof that, that Tibet belongs to China. And it is because the word Dalai Lama is in that article, it is blocked. And another time, we are blocked, our homepage was blocked, and we don't know why. And that is the time, I think, that California elected a new governor. And with that election, the Californians also voted against the gay marriage. So on our homepage, we put always news on that. And one of the news has the word LGBT. So LGBT is not critical. But the word before LGBT has in its Unicode with the last alphabet is F. So FLGBT, it is FLG, and that is Falun Gong. Okay, current state. Currently, we have about 470,000 articles, and growing actually quite fast. We have, in the March, we have about 2,000 active editors and 250 very active editors. We define active editors as people who edited 5 times in the month, at least, and very active editors as people who made more than 100 edits per month. I'm not sure that I still belong to the very active editors. And we have, in February 2012, more than 250,000 page views. It is the total month page view on Chinese Wikipedia, and both the editor and also the edit number and also the page view number is about 2 to 3% of the total number of our projects. You see that from the map behind this page is actually shows where the visits come from. And it is no wonder that most of them come from China, come from Malaysia, Taiwan, so Chinese-speaking area. But also, for example, for Australia and for New Zealand, Chinese Wikipedia is the second biggest language version that is visited in those countries behind English Wikipedia. And in US and Canada and Malaysia, it is the third biggest. I think that in US, Spanish is the second, and in Canada, French is the second. In Malaysia, I'm not sure. And surprisingly, we have a lot of visits from Africa. And I thought about it, and where I was in Kenya in January last year, and actually there are a lot of Chinese students there. There are a lot of students that are learning Chinese there, and I think that it's them that are using Wikipedia as a means for language learning there. So I was asked yesterday what is the composition of our participants. You'll see that Taiwan is about 38%. Hong Kong, Macau is about 26%. Mainland China is 20%. It may be a little more because we have a lot of participants from mainland China who are using a proxy to access our sites to undergo the keyword blockings. And we have about 15% from the overseas Chinese. So in all the projects of Wikimedia Foundation, there are some similarity. And one of them is the principle. We have the so-called 5 pillars. That is, the project has a scope. So Wikipedia is an encyclopedia. It is free. It is without ads. You can use it as free. It is licensed with a free license. We respect the intellectual property of other people. It is one of the most important things for us, so that we guarantee our user that the content that they see here are really free. And we try to keep neutrality. I will come to that point later when I ask your help. And people should be civil to each other. And the last principle is Wikipedia is without rules. Ignore all rules. It is a little contradictory to the other principles because ignore all rules means also ignore those rules. And maybe you know that Kurt Gödel, mathematician from Austria, had once proved that there is no closed logical system that is without contradictionary inside of itself. You can always find a statement inside of a closed logical system that says you cannot prove it is true or not true. And that is our proof of Gödel's theorem. We are open, so all the votings, rule building, discussions, you can find it. It is open for everyone to see all the discussions and their histories. Naturally, participation and volunteering is the principle. And one of the similarity of all Wikimedia projects is also reflected in this conference, and that is the content actually reflects the participation. So some people say that we have on English Wikipedia, for example, more content about New York City than about the whole Africa continent. And it is the same on Chinese Wikipedia. We have more content about the coastal region than, for example, Xinjiang or Tibet or Gansu and those rural areas. Naturally, we have also special characteristics on Chinese Wikipedia. Because of the diversity that we have in our community, you have seen that about 1/3 of the people come from Taiwan, 1/4 of the people come from Hong Kong, and 1/5 of the people come from mainland China. There are really tensions between the groups and between the views, how people was educated, with which ideology they grew up. And so because of these tensions and because the community really want to overcome those tensions and overcome those differences, I think that the Chinese Wikipedia is actually the most tolerant language version of all our projects in Wikimedia, of the Wikimedia Foundation. It is far, far, far more tolerant than, for example, the German Wikipedia, where the people really all come from 3 countries in Middle Europe. The hotspots of Chinese Wikipedia is very, very different than from the other language versions. For example, in English Wikipedia, it is US election, it is Palestinian, Israel conflict. And on Chinese Wikipedia, it is very different. It is more about Taiwan Strait, problems with Korea or with Japan, and we have also a lot of interactions between the Japanese and the Korean Wikipedia and us. So now I come to the most important part of my speech, and that is I want to ask for your help. So research, we really need help from researchers. For example, in the technological front, we need people to help us to modernize Wikipedia. Wikipedia looks old. It is an 11-year-old site, and it looks like an 11-year-old site. It don't look like a modern website with Ajax, with Web 2.0 technologies. It really looks old. And how to improve that? That's one thing that really people can help us out. And a lot of people, for example, compare Chinese Wikipedia and Hutong Baike or Baidu Baike and say the most drawback of Chinese Wikipedia is that it is not good localized for the Chinese culture. So what is actually that we miss? How to better provide support for participation and cooperation and discussion. After I heard the talk of Genova, for example, today morning, I wrote to the board and say, oh, we need to ask him to help us. I mean, one thing that he said, for example, he said that the online community is often very hostile, and it is also true for Wikipedia. And he wants to create a game that is not hostile for the gamers between each other. People should not kill each other on that game or go together to kill something on that game. And that's his purpose. And he researched a lot to find that environment. And so how can we find our environment so that people can more cooperate and not battle against each other? For the linguists, there are one thing that I marvel by the German. There, as I said, there are a few countries that speaks German, and there is an institution that harmonizes the German language so that they don't go diverse, and it is called Rat für deutsche Rechtschreibung, which means Council of the German Orthography, or 德语正字法协会. And we need such an institution for Chinese language. From or Chinese-speaking areas. I have mentioned things like 计算机 and 电脑, or 激光 and 镭射, or 不实 and 不息. Everyone translated his own thing, and that makes a lot of difficulties. Another example is where researchers can really find interesting thing is that there are special languages on Wikipedia. You know, we try to be neutral. We try to be substantive. Is this that also? I think that yesterday someone talked about the narrative. So is that reflected on the language that is used on Wikipedia? And the third thing is there is a theory that languages form the thinking about people. I don't know if that's really true. And if you compare between the different language versions of Wikipedia, if you really can find something that, say, really prove or disprove this theory. So social, you know, at the beginning, when Andrew attended our first meeting, there was almost no structure in Chinese Wikipedia. And meanwhile, we have more than 2,000 editors, more than 250 active editors, and we have a lot of structures. We have editors, we have normal editors, we have new editors, we have editors who can reverse edits, we have administrators who can delete articles, we have bureaucrats who can create administrators, and so on and so on. So how did this structure came into being? And how do Wikipedians cooperate, dispute, work with each other, work against each other, how those dynamics come into play, how do conflicts evolve, escalate, and resolve, and the community evolves itself. And actually, you can hear, as researcher, you can find a lot of data here because we store all our discussion histories. This is, for example, a discussion that is 8 years ago, when people start to discuss about the name of Wikipedia, you can find that discussion, who said what, why. Or for example, this is a current discussion thread about every possible things. This is one of those discussion threads. So content. Content is the most important thing of Wikipedia. And one of the questions is Chinese Wikipedia really neutral? We try to be neutral. We think we are neutral. Are we really neutral? We need a Chinese view of this thing. We have researchers mostly from Western universities who researched English Wikipedia, for example, to see if their articles are accurate, are they neutral, are they biased. And we actually also need some Chinese view about our articles. Are they different to the other languages versions? And naturally, we always try to cooperate with institutions, with research institutions, both to put more content onto Wikipedia as well as to improve our content. So the last thing is organization. Wikimedia Foundation, when I joined the board, Wikimedia Foundation has about 20 employees, and meanwhile we have 100 employees. And I have always the feeling that on the board, my headache is growing from year to year. And this year, for example, we have a very big battle about how to distribute our money between the foundation and the chapters and the countries that don't have chapter yet, and so on and so on. And all these things, and this battle is actually really interesting for example, a business school to write their case studies. And the best thing is, again, all these discussions is online, and they are in our discussion pages. You can find it. In the history, nothing is deleted. You can find really the original data, and you can analyze into that. You can analyze why someone speaks something, and so on and so on. Really, really very interesting and totally open. We have 3 Chinese language chapters: Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. Every one of them face different problems. Why they face those problems, their social background of that is why someone do better than the other. And all these things are very interesting. And in 2 years, we will have our next strategic planning. And we naturally also hope that institutions, especially scientific institutions, can help us gather the data so that we can do better. So thank you very much.